Today on episode 32 of the Home of Play podcast, we get our first look at PlayStation 5 user interface. PlayStation 4 gets System 8.0 update and it's causing some issues. And Microsoft is not going to release Bethesda games on PlayStation 5. All that and more.
Let's get some intro. What's happening, everybody? Welcome back to episode 32 of the Home of Play podcast, where every Monday the two best friends join forces to give you all the latest in PlayStation rumors, news, reviews, and that's because we're true PlayStation fans. I'm your host, Steve, and with me I'm joined by the king of platinum trophies himself, Christopher.
Hello, hello.
If you enjoyed this and would like to support the podcast, then please head over to our YouTube page where you can find our latest episodes by searching the Home of Play podcast. Please consider subscribing, maybe even dropping us a like if this spirit moves you, winky wink face. If you are already listening to this on our YouTube channel, then please feel free to listen to this on the podcast service of your choice, such as Spotify, Apple, or Amazon. If you could possibly give us a 5-star review on those services, as well as make others aware of our content through the power of word of mouth, that would also be extremely appreciated. Every month we are growing. It's all because you lovely gamers helping us spread the cause. If you have any burning questions, comments, or complaints, please leave any of those on our YouTube videos, as we want to hear from you. And then we can read your questions on the show, or while we talk about how Microsoft's definitely not giving us Bethesda games. On today's episode, we have 6 news articles to discuss, but first, as always, let us begin with what we've been up to this last week, starting with Chris.
Not too much for me. I've been playing a lot of that Genshin Impact.
It's made an impact.
Yes, it certainly has. I got another buddy I've been playing that game with quite a bit, and we're having fun with it. I mean, it's got your gacha mechanics for sure, but it's one of the first games I played where it's like I've almost been tempted to get the Battle Pass. I want to see how far I get up the Battle Pass track before I would purchase it. It's not a horrible price, and the game is definitely decent, especially for a game that's console, PC, or mobile. I've been enjoying it quite a bit. It's grabbed my attention, that's for sure. Got like 11 characters unlocked now. I'm starting to get to that point where you're getting less of the currency to get the potential chances to get characters, which isn't great. But other than that, yeah, it's been pretty steady week. I did a little bit more PUBG as usual. We actually got, I think, 2 wins this week, which was nice. And keep in mind that's not us playing quite a bit, so 2 wins is enough for us.
Yeah,
that's not the usual for us. So we play maybe like 1 day a week, maybe twice, depending on everybody's schedules. But other than that, not too much. Work still the same, all that fun stuff. Nothing too special going on here. How about yourself? What have you been up to this week?
I think I said I beat the New Game Plus of Spider-Man because I was bored, but I apparently was still cutscenes away, so I went into that, played some of the DLC and the New Game Plus, just bored waiting for Miles Morales. And then on top of that, when I got even more bored because I beat that, then I went into the free PlayStation Plus game of the month, or one of the 2 free ones, Vampire, or however we're supposed to say it with a Y in the name. Yeah, not loving it. I'm only 20 minutes in, haven't really given it a fair shake, but it definitely feels like a game that just, it's fine. It's a AA thing, but as soon as you start it, I'm like, okay, yeah, this is AA. Just looks dated, feels dated. I'm not in love with the input lag. I just feel like dodge is janky as all heck. Combat's generic and boring. But again, I'm very early in, so maybe it turns around. But I got nothing else to play. We'll see now. It is Friday as of recording, so I'm definitely thinking I might just go back in New Game Plus to Ghost of Tsushima.
Yeah, now that's out today.
Not to mention we might just do multiplayer too.
Yeah, we should probably. I think I added it to my store earlier today, or to my library, so we'll have to give that a shot maybe tonight or in the coming days.
Honestly, we might have, depending how late you want to be up on Sunday. Holidays are starting, so yeah. I definitely feel like me and you're gonna get a fair shake at that before we talk about it on next week's episode. But yeah, that was about it. I just had all that. Oh, I finished season 2, or not season 2. I guess they're calling it Haunting of Bly Manor.
Oh, you watched that too?
Yeah, so I one-shotted that. One-shotted The Boys season 2. I'm a binger of content apparently,
Mm-hmm.
and Bly Manor was not as strong in my opinion as Hill House. I would, if we're going to talk about ghost or scary or whatever you want to gauge that as, like, it's nowhere close. Like, nowhere close. It's a good story. It's a love story more than it's a ghost story, and I think they were upfront about that. I don't think they hide that fact, but it's just a little disappointing where I'm like, oh, like, I'm not scared at all. He kept some awesome, cool things. Like, you can find ghosts still hidden in the background, which is cool. I missed all of them. Like, they're not nearly, not that the last one was super obvious, but this one is definitely harder to find. Like, there's so many times where even watching better people than me find them online, I'm like, there's no way I would have ever seen that. Like, ever. He's 50 yards in the back, and like it says silhouette 50 yards in the back. I'm like, okay, like it's still cool that he would go like, put that much effort in, but goddamn. So yeah, no, it was more, I think Netflix is, well, I shouldn't say Netflix. Boys was on Prime, so but The Boys season 2, very powerful.
I did Cobra Kai. I watched that one. It was really good. I mean, I was never a huge like Karate Kid guy, but it was good. I enjoy it. I like how they play the characters off each other. They get a lot of the original cast back in, which is kind of cool to see. So yeah, it was really good.
Okay, so that is it for everything that we've done this last week. So let's just get into the news. This week we got the 6 articles. We're gonna start with number 1. Okay, so number 1, we got our first look at the PlayStation 5 user interface from a surprise, or at least a surprise for me, state of play that dropped. What day was that? Was that Thursday?
Yeah, it was Thursday.
Yeah, so it just dropped out of nowhere on Thursday, and it was, I don't know, surprise to me anyway. And we got our first look at the user interface for our next gen console.
So yeah, we'll just kind of go over some of the new features step by step as I hit my glasses on the microphone. So we got the new control center and how that looks. I thought it kind of looks a little cluttered, but it depends because it looks like each game that you play will have the options of how they want that layout to look like.
Yeah,
it sounds like. So that's kind of interesting. And then they showed kind of the activities. So it looks like you can see if games choose to use that feature, you can see like, okay, let's say mission A, it'll tell you, okay, these are some of the sub-objectives or the main mission objectives for that particular mission. And then it also then goes into the next feature where it talks about the game help, where you can actually, I think if you have to have PlayStation Plus, if I'm not mistaken, and you can actually see like tutorials or videos, or it could be just as much as a written description, I think it says, of how to find this particular objective to progress past the storyline, which is kind of a neat thing. But I mean, I hope it doesn't, like, I hope people just don't just do that. Like me, I want to actually, try first to find this thing. And if it's so hidden, those are the ones that you want to look things up, right? When some sort of hidden objective is super hard to figure out, or which particular enemy drops this particular loot, and then you got to go grind it for a while. That's kind of interesting. What do you think about the game help?
It's something that I don't think I would use that often, but it is something that I see completely helpful. I can't think of too many games where I'm just so puzzled that I need to go on the internet, but I know it's happened a few times. So, as long as a lot of games take advantage of this, my fear is it's just going to be another first party titles or only the titles using this. And I'm a little afraid that third parties would just be like, that seems like a lot of extra work we just don't have time for. And then it's just not really going to happen a lot. Kind of like how many games are really taking full advantage of like the touchpad on your controller.
Right.
That kind of stuff. Like, this is a little different, but that would be my only fear. But it does seem like a smart idea. I'm happy they're doing this.
So something else that was new was the quick join for parties and voice chat, which we're actually sort of seeing spill into the latest update, system update for PlayStation 4, the version 8 of the update. So essentially, it's you join, I guess, kind of like your messages now currently are transformed into essentially party group chats, where you could just casually just jump into it and start talking if people are sitting in that same chat. So I'm not too sure how well that'll play out. it sounds like some people on the PlayStation 4 side are kind of getting upset, which we'll get into a little bit more about later on. But moving on, picture-in-picture communications. What did you think of that?
Okay, we're talking about picture-in-picture for watching your friend's screen. I think that's cool. Again, how often am I going to use this kind of thing? I'm not sure, but like just having the option seems really cool. I don't think it's the worst thing. I do see if I'm just bored and you're playing something, but I don't want to buy that game, but I could watch you play at the same time. But I can still play my own stuff. Like, it'd have to be a pretty uninvolved game that I'm playing. Like, you know, I'm not going to play Ghost of Tsushima where I could die if I get poked once and somehow try to watch you in the background. But it's still a cool idea. Like, I don't know. It would be interesting to see the different ways we might use that.
Yeah, it's one of those things that it might get people to stream a lot more, I think. You might just be constantly, like, you'll have your group party chat up, and you'll just constantly, as soon as you're in there, just start streaming to that party chat. And if people want to casually come in and look, I guess they can. This
might be the stupidest thing ever, so correct me if you think I'm crazy. But, like, do you kind of feel like this could be abused in a multiplayer sense? Like, if you're in a squad of Call of Duty and you can see your buddies and who just killed them and where they were because you're pinning them on the screen. Like, I'm assuming you can't do multiple, but even if you had one and you're with a buddy, I'm like, well, now you know who just killed him, where he went, and blah, blah.
It's possible. I mean, you still have to be a pretty decent player to be able to play with that picture and lose that section of your vision on the screen, I guess. But yeah, in theory, it would work good for, like, not like team deathmatch, but it would work good for, like, I'm thinking Call of Duty, but like search and destroy mode where you have one life. So it's like, but mind you, I mean, in other games, you would hope that people would just communicate and said, I died here, blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
But maybe if you could see it, you might have a little bit more reaction time, but I think you'd still have to be a pretty good player to be able to do that. And keep in mind, those aren't first party titles. So who knows if that would affect the picture in picture mode. They might block that feature for, because like in the PlayStation 4 era, there's so many features that get blocked from like streaming and stuff like that. So it could be
I just don't know. Like, it could be nothing. And like you're saying, maybe it's nonsensical what I'm saying, but I just like that came to me right away where I'm like, oh, you know, if your friend, like, he's playing and he spots someone and you can kind of see exactly what he's seen instantly, I'm like, oh, maybe that gives you a leg up. I'm not sure. Like Warzone or something, right? Like, yeah, that'd be interesting.
They also showed another spot where there was a tile where it showed what your friend was playing, and it was a kind of a quick access join. If you have that game, you could just press one button and you would jump into that other player's game, which is kind of neat. I mean, I guess you could before, but it
never worked in my opinion. It never worked.
You'd always get disconnected or have some sort of issue with that, or you still have to click 5 times to get to that other thing where you could have just closed the game and restarted it.
Yeah,
probably would
work just as fast. Yeah.
4K screenshots and videos. Some people like that. I remember we always talk about taking screenshots in games not being a high priority for us until we played Ghost of Tsushima, and they're like, okay, I would take pictures of some of this stuff.
As long as I can share it well, but like currently with the PS4, like I don't know what am I sharing this to? Like typically if I ever use a screenshot, it's just to put on my user background. I'm like, okay, cool.
Moving on to a few more features. The new PlayStation Store integration. What do you think of that? Like they're rebuilding the store from the ground up.
Yeah, that's not an app you have to open, which is nice. As long as it works and doesn't slow everything down.
Gone are the days of the original PS3 web-based store. That was awful. Especially back then, I had the crappiest internet, so it was just the worst possible thing. I never downloaded anything in that stupid system.
Yeah.
Another cool feature, which I thought was interesting, which I think you agreed, was the voice dictation with the DualSense.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
That's really cool to be able to just say what you want to say.
Yeah.
And hope that it works, I guess. But most dictation works pretty good nowadays. So there was that spoiler thing, too, where it's like, if the developers...
If that picture that you try to post, your friends, if the developers tagged it, then your friends will get a little heads up that, hey, this content might be spoilery.
So how does that work? Do they tag a certain section of the game? They don't get to review your picture before you put it up.
I guess
so they must set limits of like, if you take a screenshot between this point and this point in the game, added spoiler.
It would trigger that, yes.
Okay.
That's how I would perceive that, yes.
That's pretty much the most of what we saw. Overall, what did you think?
My only concern is they didn't talk about running multiple games in the background. That's my biggest thing in this next gen race or war or whatever you want to call it. Xbox talked about having multiple games run in the background and being quick to jump to all of them.
We rewatched the video, and he switches from Little Big Planet to that All Stars Destruction game.
Yeah.
And it was quick, but it was starting the game from scratch. And we couldn't tell what happened to Little Big Planet, like if it went into like a suspended mode or anything. Because when he goes back to the main menu later on, when he hovered over Little Big Planet, it just says the button play. It doesn't say resume or anything like that. So we're not 100% certain, like if you turn that other game back on, would it be right where you left off, or would it be...
And I get, like, I could see the counter argument being like, well, what's it matter? Games are running, like, look how fast they can start games now. And I'm like, yes, but if it can do multiple as quick, like we've seen what the Xbox Series X can do, like it's just even faster. And, you know, I would love to, like, you know, this is the scenario I keep using because I don't know what games we're going to be playing, but just I keep thinking, like, I have my PS5, I'm playing Miles Morales, having a great time. You come online, Chris, and you're like, hey, let's just get back into Ghost of Tsushima multiplayer.
Mm-hmm.
I just want to be able to do that. And then you suddenly say, like, oh, you know, I need to get up early tomorrow. I'm peacing out. Then I can just quickly go back to Miles Morales. That's all I need.
How many times do people just need to, like, all of a sudden, oh, shoot, give me a second, I got to go do something, right? Where it's like, I'll be gone for 10, 15 minutes. Okay, well, I'll flip over to my single-player game right away.
And I don't have to, like, you know, load all that stuff up again. That'd be great. So that's my only thing I thought was missing. Otherwise, yeah, some things looked a little messy to me, but it could be one of those situations where the more I use it, you know, I get accustomed to it. It might just feel like, you know, feel like home later. Like I won't notice anything once I understand it. It won't seem so cluttered to me. But yeah, I don't know. It's fine. It's a user interface. It seems snap. I think the more important thing is not what it looks like or what I perceive it as. It's more like, how's it working? Is it snappy? Is it quick? I think those are the points I need to focus on more than just, is it pretty enough? You know, like, is it, you know, what's the word I'm looking for? Is it functional? And I think that's what I need to review it as, which it does seem like that. Mm-hmm. What about you?
No, I agree with everything you said.
Everything?
Yeah.
Okay. What about you, the audience? What do you think? Leave a comment about whether you're for or against it, or just indifferent like me. Number two,
yes. So we kind of mentioned that we were going to talk about this. The PS4 got a new version update, 8.00. So I'm going to go over some of the highlights of it and then some of the fallout from it.
Okay.
So the big one that I mentioned earlier was the updates to the party and the messages chat, which is what's causing some of the fallout. Essentially, party and messages will be more tightly linked together, and you will see changes to the UI. Both apps will now use the same groups of players for party voice chats and message exchange. New avatars.
Wow. Crazy.
So many avatars. There's now a new button in the quick menu to mute everybody in the party chat.
I don't know why you'd want to be in a party if you're just going to mute anyone anyway.
Yeah. This is important. You guys shut up, mute.
I mean, maybe. I guess if you're like, for my lifestyle, the wife comes in and she wants to yell at me, which is the usual.
But that'd be muting yourself. This button mutes the other people.
Well, I know, but then that way I can hear her better.
Oh, yeah, okay.
That would be the only situation
or you
I
could just lift it off your ear instead of clicking.
That's madness, and it takes mental and physical effort.
There's some simplified and more flexible parental controls, and in addition, there's also enhanced two-step verification, which that took for far too long for that to happen.
Yeah.
And then they removed the event creation and private community creation. We did try like our Destiny raids. We tried to schedule party events, but it ended up, I think we did it for maybe a month, and then it was just like, we just knew when we were all on. We didn't need it on the calendar, so it's like we just didn't need to make that event for it.
It's Tuesday.
Yeah, it's Tuesday.
It's Tuesday.
Let's play. And then last but not least, there is updates to the Remote Play app on the PC and mobile devices.
Woo.
So that's pretty much the gist of all the changes, quite a bit for the most part. It seems like they're prepping the system to be more compatible with the PlayStation 5. With it, like the changes that are going to come with that system.
It sounds like it's also preparing for all your friends to turn into snitches.
Oh yeah, that too.
And what happens to snitches,
you can
Chris?
now report your.
They get stitches, Chris.
You can now somehow, for some reason, have your
whole party chat recorded and then set it to a moderator.
Which is, I mean, I guess you
the
could do it.
The only time I could see it is
randoms.
like if you're trolling a troll. So like you're like, yeah, you're a big dude, and then you talk him into doing this party just so he could yell at you, and then you record him instead of moderator. But I'm like, that still just sounds like playground bullcrap, where it's like you're still tattling, kind of. It's weird. Like, why are we promoting tattling?
Maybe I can entrap those people who randomly send me messages who are like, hey, I got discount codes for games and stuff. I never respond to them, but maybe I could actually do a chat and then report them and then get them even more banned, I guess. I don't know.
I guess, but you think you could just report them in the first, like, I don't know. It seems weird.
So the main issue that people are having with, and I kind of agree with it, is with the new party system. So if I'm understanding it correctly, essentially you have all your messages that you've had with all your groups, right? Essentially, this now converts those messages into potential voice chat rooms, essentially. So where the issue comes from is, let's say I'm playing with my three of my normal friends that I'm playing with, and I want to include a random fourth person, maybe my friend or maybe one of their friends. You essentially have to recreate a whole new messaging group with those new people and then start the voice chat with that. You can't just add someone. Well, you could add someone, but it creates a whole new chat as far as I understand. And that just seems like the dumbest thing ever. Like, why would you do that? That doesn't, it's just, why would you not keep them separately?
Yeah.
I understand the PlayStation 5 is going to have some differences, and probably that's why they're doing this, but I'm not seeing a clear-cut reason as to why this needs to be.
Yeah, I haven't been in a group chat in a while. I definitely I'm not playing multiplayer games nearly as much, so like I don't have these experiences, but from what you're telling me, it just sounds like it's going to be a pain. Timing is interesting, but like we're talking about going to Tsushima, the multiplayer legend mode or whatever the heck they call it. That does sound like it'd be a pain. Me and you probably have a group whatever currently, so it'd be easy enough. But you're right, like if we want to add one of my other buddies that I know wants to play with me in that, and maybe one of your guys, then it's like we got to create this all new hybrid thing. Like it seems so kind of
we're gonna have like 7 or 8 different group chats with every random person that wants to play that game with us.
And you play way more multiplayer than I do, so I can only imagine the hodgepodge you're going to be dealing with.
Yeah, it's very confusing. I mean, I get maybe in the long run, once you have your whole network established of people, then it won't be as difficult, or maybe you'll just end up having a ridiculously massive group of people, like every single person you ever include.
Yeah.
Other than like randoms. That's where I see some people having issues with the randoms, right?
Yeah.
It's like I'm just playing Call of Duty with some random people, and it's like, hey, these guys were kind of fun. Maybe I want to join their thing. Now they have to go create a whole new group chat with you. I don't know. It just seems like a flaw in the system to me.
Yeah, this whole thing sounds like 1 step forward, 2 steps back.
Moving on to Article 3. Phil Spenser. He's made some comments about what we might see for future Bethesda games on the PS5. What are your thoughts on that?
Well, it sounds very confusing. Everyone seems to be picking this apart differently. I've seen articles that say, let's say they slant it in the direction that like make it sound like he doesn't want to take games away from people, which if you read that for what it seems like at first, then I would say, okay, like, yeah, maybe we're going to get some Bethesda games, or at least the important ones, hopefully still on the PS5. But then other ones like Games Radar are totally going the other direction and be like, nope, Phil says he's fine not ever bringing these things to PS5. Then, but even the clip that they're basing that off of is him just saying, like, the question sounds like they asked him, hey, like, can you guys afford $7.5 billion payout and not selling these on the PS5? And he's just blatantly saying, oh, yeah, we can afford that. And I'm like, of course he's going to say that. Like, what CEO's like, no, we're
oh, yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, we're Tommy right there set his head on fire. Like, it's just, no, like, they're obviously not going to lie, or they are going to lie, in my opinion. I don't think it's Microsoft. They can afford to do this, but in the same sense, like, to accumulate some of the money back, yeah, I don't think Games Pass is going to work out that great. Not now. Like, I think they need a bigger it's what they're thriving for, just like Netflix. You know, I think I bring up how similar this is going to be for both. Like, look, Netflix is always in debt, so I just don't see Games Pass being much better.
I don't see why Microsoft would want to cut their revenue stream off from PlayStation 5 owners. Like, I can't imagine. It's like, okay, Bethesda makes the game. They're the ones who are selling the game to PlayStation. How much of a cut is PlayStation actually getting for allowing them to
30%?
Is it 30%?
From what I hear, yeah.
So that's 70% more that you're going to get for every single title you sell in that system. So why would you not want that?
Yeah.
I mean, I fully expect timed exclusives. I 100% see Elder Scrolls being like a month extra on Xbox before it comes out on PlayStation, even longer. Why not, right? But yeah, I mean, why? I just don't understand why would you just actively turn away from the money. I know a lot of like indie developers. I mean, they can't afford to make these games on all these different systems, these different infrastructures. So I understand it in that regards, but Bethesda, I mean, they can make it on everything. So they're making the games on the watches. So
I know, right? And the Alexas and such on. Yeah. But yeah, I don't know. It's very interesting, and you can take it any way you want. I definitely think you're going to see stuff. I have a hard time believing you're not going to get certain games, but like you said, it all depends, because the problem with all these companies is saying one direction. Like, you know, me and you are looking at Xbox and seeing that they're trying to be more of a service now versus a console war, this and that. And I think, you know, if we can believe the numbers, it seems like PS5's got it locked down. You know, it sounds like, or seems like they're going to be the winner of the console race, if you want to call it that. So that's why I kind of feel like Xbox is going a different direction. So if they dive and really lean into that direction, then why would you not want to just get some more money, right? Like, let's sell it on all the consoles. Give yourself, like you said, a timed exclusive. That way you're promoting Games Pass, or Game Pass. I think I always say it wrong. But yeah, I don't know. It depends if they actually lean to that, because they said that, but then they bought Bethesda, which just seems counterproductive for what you were saying, right? So it's confusing. It's just like PlayStation and their whole, we believe in generations, but everything's backwards compatible. It's like, wait, what? Like, so Horizon's coming on PS4? Yeah, but we believe in generations. I'm like, wait, what? No, you don't. You're lying. So that's the problem with all this like corporate speak lately. It just seems like until, you know, it's served in front of me, I don't know what the hell they're serving.
Until the dust settles, where we actually see where things land.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's all going to be up in the air.
Number 4.
We finally get a release of the first PS5 compatible solid state drives that you can get separately.
And they're not expensive at all.
No, not.
Holy
they're
shit.
cheap.
What was the, is it the 2 terabyte costs as much as the freaking console?
Yeah, the 2 terabyte I think was $449.99.
And I love, this is funny because like,
these are on Western Digital, by the way.
Like, I feel like it's always like me patting myself on the back for previous arguments I've had, but everyone's just, I heard so many people complain like, why isn't the hard drive bigger? And it made me shake my head. I'm like, do you not know how much these things cost? Like, have you not looked? Not to mention a normal solid state hard drive, but then it's like how fast these ones are, how they weren't even on the market like just a little while ago. It's new technology. The speed's incredible. It's twice as fast as the Series X SSD. And like, yeah, so I knew they were going to cost a bunch. So us just getting 1 terabyte should show you the value of the price of the PS5.
Yeah, if you want a 2 terabyte, well, I mean, they could make the system and sell it for $1,000.
Yeah, exactly. But you're going to bitch about it then too.
Yeah, then you may as well buy a PC.
Yep,
that's what kind of where it ends up going. So, I mean, they've released it. There's 500, 1 terabyte, 2 terabyte. It goes anywhere from $150 to up to the $450 range. So, I mean, will I get one? I always say I'm going to get one, but then I never do. I always just have that nice rotation of games.
It's for me, it's going to be, how are these games coming out? What is the size, the file sizes?
How many Call of Duties can you get on one system?
Well, one Modern Warfare on the PS5 is just going to ruin that thing.
If you could just get game developers to optimize their downloads, why do you need so much space? You don't need that much space.
PC's always so much smaller.
Yeah. Like, you can compare this game and that game, and it's like Ghost of Tsushima Tsushima is what was it, 40 gigs?
Yeah, I think so.
I think it was around 40 gigs. I'll say don't quote me on that, but and that game is like an open world game, massive, lots of story, lots of textures, lots of everything, and it's 40 gigs. And then you got a game where it's like Warzone from Call of Duty, which is what
it's like the pinata on this show. We just bash it every time.
It's one map, not a big map. You can only ever go into the circle. So I mean, you could go outside, but you know what I mean. And it's just multiple guns and stuff. I mean, there's tons of cosmetics and stuff, but it's like this game should not be 150 gigs. It does not make sense.
It's all the guns and all the previous Modern Warfare is still in there because God forbid they ever condense those files.
So the main gist for the story is you can get the external hard drive, or well, I don't know if it's external hard drive if you have to install it.
No, I think it's internal.
Yeah, but anywhere from 150 to 450 US.
I mean, would I like 2 terabytes? Probably, but I think I'll be fine. Like, you know, my PS4 Pro only has a terabyte, and I think I've only filled it once so far. But I had a lot of crap on it. I'm like, okay, I'm never gonna play Horizon. Why do I have this on here?
Yeah, I mean, this is the first
Witcher 3 for like 3 years. Like, hey, I haven't played it again. It's just too big. It's daunting. Let's just get rid of it.
I mean, this is the first time too, though, where we're getting a new generation console where I'm gonna have
a lot of games.
Up to 10 games almost for day one.
Yeah, so I mean, in that point, yeah, you have a point, but you know, are you going to go blow, like, you know, you just get your new console, or are you going to blow another $500?
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, but I'm just thinking like Cyberpunk, Assassin's Creed.
I think you're just like
Godfall.
We're just going to have to tear it out, be like, okay, what do I need on this day one?
Do I
and
need
everything
Spider-Man right away?
Yeah.
And then that one's probably not even going to be that big. Like
no, I could see that one being small.
That one's probably going to be one
I
of
thought
those
they
40
even might have
ones.
confirmed the size on that one.
It's like, do I need to have them both installed at the same time? I don't know, maybe not.
Oh yeah, see, I'm getting the Ultimate, so that'd be my problem.
Yeah, but that's not even that big of a game.
Number 5, Bloodborne modders promise to release 60 frames per second mod if Sony doesn't upgrade the game. So we found out that some busy man figured out that Bloodborne can actually apparently run at 60 frames per second just because of the way they programmed the game originally, and no other fixes need to happen. It sounds like if he changes one aspect of this game, it just smoothly transitions to 60 frames per second on a PS4 Pro, and he's a little upset that Sony didn't tackle this in the first place. And so now he's threatening if the Bloodborne on PS5 doesn't benefit from Game Boost, that he will just release this on his own, and therefore we can all enjoy a timed classic, if you will, of the PS4 at a beautiful 60 frames per second. He's released a video. It looks incredible. I think you agree.
It looks really good.
Yeah. So
it looks like he was kind of at first saying like it's almost like a different game. And at first I was like, well, but is it? And then you watch and it's like, wow, you almost need your reaction time to be a little bit faster to react to those 60 frames because it look good.
And well, that's the thing. And like, I don't know, it feels like these kind of games need to be 60 frames per second. So I could see a lot of people love Bloodborne. It is, like I said, it wasn't just to be corny to call it a time classic. Like, I know a lot of people, this game has a following. I think a lot of people would definitely want this.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. I mean, I didn't finish Bloodborne, mostly because it's one of those games that for some reason it's like when I have nothing to do, I'll play Bloodborne, but then I'll get something to do and I won't play it for 2 months. And then I'll forget where I am when I go back to it. So it's one of those ones I would appreciate the mod, and I might actually be able to stick to it and finish it.
Yeah. No, I hear you. I'm kind of the same. Like, I also wonder is Bloodborne something we're going to see eventually get a PC patch like Death Stranding or Horizon, you know, or I shouldn't call it a patch, sorry, but like a port.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And then do they plan to do that? Like, I don't know.
It feels like there's still too much unknown that we're getting. We need to start, like, when we get the PS5, it's like actually see some of these games in the boosted form that they're talking about. And it's like, oh, okay, this is what they did, you know?
Yeah.
And I almost want to compare them side by side. Like, I'll turn the old one on. It's like, okay, this is what I got. It was a good game. It was okay. And then you play on the next one, it's like, oh, this is working pretty good.
Yeah.
So it's like, you just almost need to compare it just to know. But yeah, any game that's 60 frames per second is a good game in my.
Well, it'd just be nice to see Bloodborne 60 frames because it seems like I might die before Elden Ring gets talked about. Like, when was that released? Like, was that not the Video Game Awards like 2 years ago?
That was a while ago.
Yeah, it's very disappointing. Well, I should have expected this because they did work with Railroad Martin, and he's not known for timely releases. Anyway, we're moving on to number 6, I believe. Number 6.
Here we go again. Marvel's Avengers DLC and next-gen versions delayed.
The other Home Play podcast pinata, where we just beat the bejesus out of this one. And I love to do it. I love to do it because this is the second generation. This is the next Anthem. Like, this is absolutely. Look at this. Look at this.
It's almost the pre-Anthem with how much worse it feels than the other one.
Well, I think because Anthem, although there was excitement for it, I just think this one, like, this is a Marvel property, right?
Yeah.
Like, so this one just had so much more weighing on it, in my opinion. And good golly, Miss Molly, did they fudge this up? Okay, so anyway, yeah, it sounds like I don't even know how this is physically possible, but they delayed the PS5 version of Marvel's Avengers and to no date whatsoever. So we do not know what's happening, when it's coming out for the next gens. That is very odd.
It's dead.
Yeah,
it won't survive it.
It won't survive
if it's not like day one. This game was already losing its people, its base, if you want to call it a base, and it not being available on the PS5 day one or any of the next gen consoles. It's just gonna die. It's dead. Kaput.
Additionally, just to make the news even better, it sounds like they are also delaying our first bit of DLC, the Kate Bishop DLC that was supposed to introduce a few more story beats and the brand new character. And that's also been delayed. And all they say is it's pushed out of October so they can do a little more testing. But again, no date given. And, I think we said it last week. You kind of just touched on it. But here we go again. This game's dead. You cannot have a player base that's gone down like 2,700%. Like, that is astronomical. So I'm just looking at this and I'm like, holy crap. And now you don't have a date on this. And then even if, let's say, they somehow get to pull it together quicker and they're like, nope, we can't get out in November. Too late. We have the new consoles. We have all these games. Too many games. We're all stressed here. There's no one's going to have time for this. This is such and with that high of a drop, like, who's coming back? And even if they came back, what do you think the number, like, let's just play a game, a little speculative game. The top was 28. That was when it was the number one game downloaded in September, right? 28,000, and this is PC. 28,000. What do you think them, like, so now they're down to 1,000. What do you think the bounce back is, even if they did get a bounce back? Like, in the realm of reality, right?
People are going to move on.
And that's my thing too.
If it came out tomorrow, you might get some people just because there's nothing going on right now.
Yeah.
But if it's going to get another, like, in a month, no chance.
Like, we're talking about
no chance.
And like, it's not for me, but we're talking about a month that has Call of Duty, Cyberpunk, like Miles Morales, Godfall,
new gen consoles,
Valhalla, Watch Dogs Legions. Like, there's no way. And I'm not even saying the whole list.
No.
And I'm like, what chance? Like, it's just as a PC player, I'm just like, I guarantee a bunch of people are going Cyberpunk or Call of Duty. So even if they do get, I'm so going to be watching this when they do release the Kate Bishop. I want to see the numbers.
Yeah.
I need to.
But as a special thank you to the 12 players that suffered through that launch, Crystal Dynamics is giving all players, the 12 of them, 1,500 credits, 7,000 units, 250 upgrade modules, 20 DNA keys, and a Sarah Garza inspired nameplate.
Oh, wow, the nameplate.
So, for free, we're going to give you 4 different types of currencies that will hopefully encourage you to spend more money to get more currencies to get that one item that you wanted.
It's just like, I honestly don't, like, they have to do an Anthem 2.0, just like Anthem, but like, I just think it's too late. It's done.
Make sure to get those, though. You have to log in between October 22nd and November 5th. Otherwise, it's too late for you.
I don't know. I could be totally wrong somehow, but I just think the chances of that are so close to nothing.
Mm-hmm.
I have a better chance of winning the lottery than this game does having a second resurgence.
Yes, I agree.
So, yay for them. I don't know. This is what corporate greed gets you. It gets you to dead on freaking arrival. Okay, so that's all our articles. We got through them in that timely fashion we love so much. So we're going on to homework. What is homework? Homework is just the articles that weren't big enough to talk about in a great depth. We didn't really have time to talk about them, but we think they might be stuff that you're still interested in. So we just kind of give you that little point in your finger to here, go find it on your own time, and maybe you'll enjoy that. So here we go. We're starting with article number 1 for homework. It is Spider-Man Miles Morales gameplay details, FPS, and abilities revealed. This one's on IGN. Go look it up, but it talks a little bit about the differences, which I kind of think we already knew about, but your 4K mode versus your performance 60 frames per second mode on the PS5. So yeah, if you're interested in that, you want to hear about more of the abilities, maybe you want to hear about Spider-Cat, because God knows I am going to be using the costume that has Spider-Cat.
I guess the more thing too is that it's like officially confirmed that there will be a performance mode and a non.
Yeah, they never really talked in detail that you're not getting ray tracing in the 60 frames per second. It was kind of obvious, but yeah, now they're just saying, yeah, you're not getting it.
Mm-hmm. Why is the PS5 so big? Well, apparently it's because of the cooling fan. So you can find more information about that on IGN, but essentially, yeah, it's as big as it is because they need to put a cooling fan in it that can cool the system from both sides of the system. Mostly the board, obviously, on the one side, but they said the other side gets hot too, so it needs to be cooled too.
I'm fine with it, honestly. I think I admittedly have made fun of other consoles, mainly the Xbox One X, because it was pretty big, but then on top of that, they have that external power supply. And I'm like, well, PlayStation's, okay, if we're going Xbox One versus the original PS4 was more powerful and smaller and had its power supply inside. So like, yeah, I've made jokes before of like big consoles, but honestly, with all the issues we're having with overheating, noise, these consoles sound like they're taking off. If you have to make it bigger so it doesn't do that, then yeah, I will just take it.
Mm-hmm.
Do it. Make it the size of my TV. I don't care. As long as I don't have to hear it and it doesn't sound like it's going to attack my animals. Great. Because, my PS4 Pro just this week just started going crazy loud. To the point where I'm like, if a random stray cat walks by, it might get sucked in and killed. Like, like that scene in Willy Wonka, right? Like he's just getting lifted in the ceiling. So I'm just, yeah, like, I don't know, but I'm okay with it. And for a last bit of homework, IGN, I guess, released another, or you can probably find on YouTube too, but it sounds like Assassin's Creed dropped a 7-minute gameplay kind of trailer, introducing a bunch of like different features that the game offers. It looked really good.
Yeah, it looked good. I'm excited for the city development building. I like that stuff. I
just thought, I'm excited for Excalibur, apparently.
Yeah, Excalibur is going to be in the game.
Yeah, so I don't know. There's a lot of neat features that you can check out there, but it definitely got my hype up. I was a little down because there's a first impressions article, I guess if you want to call it another homework article that you can find on IGN, and it sounded like a lot of people are down on the side missions, which then made me feel a little down, but now watching this video, I think I'm back up and maybe even higher than I was before in the hype train.
Mm-hmm. They like advertising in the video shields.
Yes, and I'm so happy that shields are coming back. You don't even know.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that is it for your homework, and that is it for the show yet again. So until next Monday, we are leaving you again.
Bye.
Bye. Say what you want to say and let it all come out honestly. I forgot the lyrics. I just say what you want to say. That one really hit me in the heart.
I don't know, maybe not.
Oh yeah, see, I'm getting the ultimate, so that'd be my problem.
Yeah, but that's not even that big of a game.
Ooh,
I don't think.
But with those new 4K textures,
oh, it's gonna be so big.
so big. Oh, big. Oh, so big.